What's up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? Welcome back to the Fangirl Files podcast. I'm Madison, and unfortunately, Sabrina isn't here today. She sort of needed some mental time to herself, and she needed me to host. But today, with me, I have the lovely. Can I say your full name?
Just first.
I have the lovely Kaylee. Do you wanna introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kaylee, and I'm an anime fan. That's why I'm here.
I need your deepest, darkest secrets, but no, I'm kidding.
No, you already know them. They don't need to know. Just randomly out of the blue, somebody emailed me going, "I need you to be in my podcast." Okay.
Yeah, she's a random stranger that I found on the streets.
Yes.
She was very willing to jump into this podcast.
Yeah, I still expect my paycheck.
You're not getting paid.
Oh, well then.
This is a capitalist society.
Why am I here?
Because I want you to be here. You're here for credit to put on your resume that you were on an episode of the Fangirl Files podcast.
That does nothing.
Yes, it does. What are you talking about? Sweats nervously. Anyway, jokes aside, she's not a total stranger, shockingly enough. I've known... Yeah. Yay! I've known Kaylee for like, 5 or 6 years now?
I actually think it's been 7.
It's been 7?
I think.
We met like sophomore year of high school. We're still a little like foggy on like when we started.
I can't even remember what I had for breakfast this morning, so
yeah. Anyway, so today we're gonna talk about anime. If you couldn't tell, because this on the other end introduced me to anime.
Oh hell yeah.
Yes, and I'm gonna get into the story. It was around. It was a cloudy day. No, it was around sophomore year that you came up to me and you were like, you should read these mangas. You should read Death Note. And I was like completely new. I don't even think I'd heard of anime at the time, or mangas. So I was like, what, why? And so I like took the books and I started reading them, and they were like really, really good, right?
Yeah, and you kept borrowing them and wouldn't give me back until I like pried them from your hands. So I bought you the whole set of, what was it, 12 books? I can't remember. I got her the special edition because I wanted to give her the extra, like the tidbit book that had it at the end. I can't remember what it's called. It's not even in my room right now, but it was good.
I remember you gave me that, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Kaylee, I'm not into anime as much as you think I am."
Yeah. You want to tell me that now?
Yeah. Well, and you were like, "You have to watch. You have to like read the mangas, and then here's where you stop reading the mangas and watch the series." And like you were giving me all these instructions, and I was just like, at the time, I remember thinking like, "This is weird, dude." Like, It takes a lot to get into anime, and I'm a newbie, so like obviously Kaylee has her "I told you so" moment because almost
every day.
And now I'm into anime, and I've been watching anime religiously for the past year. I haven't watched anything else other than anime.
Before this recording, we were talking about what type of animes, and I asked her, the classic like Full Metal Alchemist.
It's been a year. I need time to watch it.
I do too, but at least I watch a little bit.
Oh, you've been a fan of anime for much longer than me. Okay, you get into your experiences. Come on, tell me about your experiences.
Okay, well, I started it freshman year of high school. Oh. And I did it because, our band, well, you knew her in band. Was it band or orchestra?
Oh, she was in orchestra.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, she introduced me to anime. Oh my god, that was a rabbit hole. But when my dad found out I was thinking about getting into anime, or like anime, my dad recommended me reading mangas instead. So I picked up, my first one was Death Note, and I couldn't go back. It was too good. I couldn't put the book down. I actually think I finished the whole entire book and manga within a month.
The thing about manga is like once you start reading them and you get hooked, like you go through them really fast. Like I read the first volume of Tokyo Ghoul and I finished it within like 30 minutes and I was like, I need the next volume.
Nice. Yeah, that's usually what happens to me. I was reading well, it used to be called Witch Hunters, but now it's called Witch Busters. I haven't been able to buy the new editions, and I think actually COVID probably messed it up too. But that series, like the day I bought it, it was thick book. Like I would get the
thick,
yeah, like with 3 C's, thick book. And it would have, so technically mangas are, not all of them, but some mangas are like those small little books and you have to kind of buy multiple of those. This one had it where like 2 or 3 of those were in one big book.
Oh.
And I would read that in a day and I would remember the whole entire thing. That's how good and how addicted I was to anime and manga. And I would even like reread it multiple times too. But I get picking it up, finishing it, and wanting more because you can't. There's no end.
Yeah. There's just so many good, like I'm on Instagram and I'm looking through like reels with animes, and there are so many like there are so many classics that I haven't even gotten into, and I'm just like, oh my god, like the rabbit hole is vast and it's expansive.
Oh, you have no idea.
Yeah. I'm sure I don't. But I remember, going off of what you said, I remember walking into like your room when I went over to your house and I was like,
oh no,
she's got like figurines. She has like a whole entire bookshelf filled with like, I think the Witch Busters in particular, like all those volumes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, oh, she's a weeaboo.
Yeah, and I admit it. And now you're also a weeaboo. So
yeah. I think there's another term for it though, isn't it? Like otaku?
I don't know.
Because weeaboo isn't that term supposed to be like people who are obsessed with like Japanese culture?
Probably. Which, actually, all honesty, is me. All right, we should probably get to the list.
Yeah, I was going to say it's time to transition to the list.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to talk about Death Note first, since it's both of our initial interactions with anime or manga.
Hold on. I want to state spoiler alerts probably for almost everything we're going to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to put like a list in the description.
So Death Note, what'd you think of it?
Obviously, I love Death Note, okay? Death Note is just... Mwah. It's just chef's kiss. Like Light Yagami is a fantastic villain. Like, and he is like the perfect person for literally like the entire message of Death Note. Like to me, I've talked about this before on like other episodes, but Death Note is very much so about how like one person should not have all of the power and one person shouldn't, you know, decide what justice is and what justice looks like. And so like by putting like Light Yagami in that role as a villain, showing that he's like super intelligent, he's super capable, like he's everything that like, you know, everyone wants, but he has like that massive god complex, is such a like great way to deliver that, because it shows like, you know, justice is like based on, I guess, like a whole like populist sort of understanding rather than like an individualistic one.
I agree, but only halfway through the series.
Well, yeah.
So, I won't lie, I do not count anything else after Elle dies, okay? So, personally, I think Elle is the best character. Light Yagami is my second favorite character. Elle is my first, and I don't like how they just automatically replaced him.
Yeah, I have some theories. We're gonna get into that because me and Kaylee talk about this like all the time. But like, yeah, obviously, like it's showing like power's like gonna corrupt Light, you know, like 'cause he starts out as like this innocent sort of character. Like when he finds like the Death Note, he's all like, "Is it okay to kill him?" And then at the end, he's like, "I don't care. I'm gonna kill him like everyone. I don't give a shit."
Yeah. Though I did argue with because my dad also watched it, so him and I still talk about it too, because it's his favorite as well. And I said I understand why they had Light go insane at the end, but he's supposed to be smart, and I understand like you kind of get drunk on power, but at the same time he would always make a plan just in case, like an always plan B. He would always try to find a way just in case if he gets caught in a corner. And it kind of boggled my mind that he didn't. And like I said, I kind of get it if he kind of forgot, especially, you know, being drunk on power. But at the same time, it's not characteristic of him.
Yeah. I think
he would take every precaution.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you there. I thought the ending was a bit unsatisfactory. And I think it was sort of building like the fact that he did have this huge God complex and he was becoming more and more corrupt. I think in a way that basically took over a lot of his judgment, and he no longer was sound enough to sort of make the same decisions that he did beforehand. But no, I wish he went out in more of a grand sort of way, if that makes sense. I don't know if you agree with that, but I agree with you there.
Yeah. Like I said, the series in general is really good. I like the strategic thinking, but the humor in the middle. I like some of the fan fiction. I love the graphics, especially in the anime. The music is my favorite. Though opening theme song wise, the second season is my favorite, the heavy metal one, because it actually gets you pumped up. It gets you wanting more. It gets you ready for like the intense action that can happen. The first one just kind of makes me want to fall asleep.
You're gonna hate me, but I skipped the intros, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know if I keep talking to you now.
I went straight into it because I was like, so I stopped reading. I read the mangas up until Elle died in like high school, and then I actually finished it by watching the mangas because I was so mad when Elle died, and I didn't understand why they replaced him with Nier so quickly. But I'll get into my theory for that. Yeah, I just wanted to get into it because I was like, I want to know what happens, because I knew Light was gonna die, but I didn't know how.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't fully satisfactory, but I kind of get it because, you know, human behavior, but at the same time, oh my god, come on.
Yeah, it felt. Yeah,
I felt like
after Elle died, it was like, ugh. But here's my theory, though. My theory is that. Shut up.
No, go ahead.
So my theory on why like Elle did not solve the case over why Nier solved it more so than Elle is I think like Elle had some sort of he's been like alone his entire life, right? And he's a genius and he feels like nobody else can really relate to him. And so when Light came along and sort of provided that for him, like you see him throughout the series say like, I consider you to be a friend, or like, you know, he's my equal and things like that. So I think in a way he was attached to Light and he didn't want Light to be Kira, even though he stated in one episode, like, I wish you were. I think in a way, like, what Elle was looking for was a friend, and he saw that in Light, and that clouded a lot of his judgment and prevented him from figuring out, you know, putting two and two together. And then you have Mir, who comes in, and he has no attachment to the case. A lot of the fans, I think, would describe him as a bit sociopathic in a way. I've seen some people make that analysis, but because he doesn't have attachment to Light, he's able to solve that.
Yeah, and he doesn't care as much about, like you said, Light compared to Elle did, because he physically, you know, was there. He never had a friend, but at that moment it felt like he probably did. And I always found it weird how Elle was kind of surprised when he died, but at the same time, like, you can kind of see that he kind of knew that he was gonna die.
Yeah.
So I think he secretly knew the whole time. Like, maybe like halfway through the investigation, he's like, oh, yeah, it is you, but I don't want to, you know, rat you out just yet because I am enjoying your company. I am enjoying, you know,
the cat and mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he wanted to confirm because he needed like some sort of solid evidence to put in front of like a court system and be like, the Light Yagami is Kira. But I can definitely see like that he did enjoy like the cat and mouse game, and he enjoyed the fact that he had like an equal.
Yeah, exactly.
Oran, So you introduced me to Orin High School Host Club.
I did.
You introduced me to a lot of the shows on this list.
Oh yeah.
But it is just, I didn't think I would like it because it's like a very sort of like flowery and like a bit, I don't want to say girly sort of show,
It's
but
kind of like
very...
it felt like a childish type show where like there was a lot of those like, you know, animation or like cartoonish type sounds.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but
very feminine men in some cases. There's nothing wrong with feminine men though.
No, but the show's great. That's all I got.
Yeah. The show, so you told me that it was like satire of how animes usually are, and then after that I was like, this is funny.
Yeah.
Like I was laughing so hard at Orin High School Host Club. Oh my god.
It's basically a show that knows itself and is kind of making fun of itself halfway through it. And like it points out the obvious and it makes fun of its own characters, and that's basically why I love it, because it knows it's kind of a joke and it knows it's comedy, so it's trying to make the best of it type thing. Sometimes it's very extra, but sometimes it's great.
Yeah, Kyoya in particular, like the scene where he's trying to sleep and they like wake him up and he's got like that cranky look across his face. That made me laugh so hard. I feel like that's just so relatable. We all have that like one person in our lives that we're like, you can't wake them up or they're gonna slaughter you.
Oh yeah, I kind of related to
yeah,
just waking up like nope.
Yeah, the death glare. And what's his name? I always get it wrong. I get him mixed up with Mori, but what's the blonde dude's name? Is it Tamaki? I love him.
It's Tamaki.
He's such a himbo. He's a himbim. I saw something the other day that was like talking about the spectrum of like himbo, bimbo, and then they put like there's himbim, which is where they're kind of like the male versions of bimbos, to where they're really feminine and stupid, and they put Tamaki there, and I was like, that's such a good way to describe him. He's so over dramatic.
He's a special kind of stupid.
He is, and his relationship with Kyoya makes me laugh so hard, because he's like, when Tamaki was like, "Mommy" or "Daddy," and
no, it was mommy.
So it was mommy, and Kyoya's like, "I guess that's me."
Yeah. I thought it was mommy.
I can't. I think it was mommy. I think he was saying he was mommy because Tamaki was like, he thought he was Haruhi's father.
Oh yeah,
he tried to play that role,
and then he actually met her real father. That was something special.
Yeah,
there is a couple shows I do still recommend for you. It's Assassination Classroom. That one is awesome. It's basically this alien that is threatening to destroy the world, and he has one condition, that he would help explain how not to destroy a world or something like that. I can't fully remember what the rules were, but he has to be allowed to be able to teach a class. So so he becomes a sensei, and all of these FBI like people start just joining the school. So like their PE teacher used to be like a federal agent. they're I don't want to explain too much because I still want you to watch it.
Yeah, for the viewers though.
Yeah, the students there. So basically, the first episode, the FBI agent that is their PE teacher comes in. This is like the first day they started class, and he said, "You will get like millions of dollars if you kill this teacher." And even the teacher himself began to show that, like, you know, bullets can't hurt him, but rubber can, or something like some sort of like object that you wouldn't think would actually hurt somebody can actually hurt him. But they give them all the weapons and even grenades and stuff, and they start teaching these kids how to become assassins. But it's mostly like a comedy type thing now and then, and it's so awesome. And the teacher even like kind of threatened the students in the first episode, and I was dying because he can run super fast. Like he can run from, you know, the US all the way to Japan back to the US like in 2 seconds. that type of fast.
The Flash.
Basically, but in alien form. And he can fly too.
He's creepy. Is he like the smiley face dude?
Yeah, he's awesome. I actually love him. I think him, two of the students, I don't remember their names because, like I said, it's been a while since I've seen any anime recently. I've been too busy studying. There's a blue hair dude, like student, who kind of looks a little feminine. And there is a red hair dude, and he kind of looks like the evil looking kid type thing.
Is his name Karma, the redhead dude?
Yes, yeah. And I love their other teacher that they call Bitch Sama.
Oh my god.
They literally call teacher Bitch Sama. In all honesty, in the beginning, I was like, that's mean. But then as I got to learn about the teacher, I was like, that makes sense. But
what do you enjoy about it? What's your favorite thing?
Well, you already know this, but I love the chaotic stuff in animes. I love
She is chaos personified, but continue.
Oh, duh. I just told somebody if they invite me to like their Minecraft server, don't give me TNT. I'm just giving you a warning.
We can't even talk about Minecraft because me and her share like a Minecraft server, right? And she literally, every time we see a village, she's like, "Can I kill everyone and burn the village down?" And I'm like, why is that your first reaction to seeing a village full of people?
What else are you supposed to do? Trade with them? My God, you're not even gonna see them the next day.
Oh my god.
Why would you want to live in a village where you can make your own castle and just, like murder and like burn everything in your path? Why not? But
I don't understand.
Sometimes I don't either, but it's okay. The other reason I love it, one, it's also kind of a show that makes fun of itself too. Like it knows. I like kind of the darker humor. I like the gory stuff. And this one kind of fits the bill in most of those areas.
So it's like the perfect combination for you, like the darkness with like humor added in it.
Oh yeah.
That's
why I said I actually think you would love that show. I'm dead.
Everything you recommend to me, I love. So I'm adding it to my list.
No, this one. So this is like top 5. Like Death Note is number 1. I think that would be like number 2. That's how much I really liked that show. And I even started watching the manga. Most of the time,
watching the manga.
Shut up.
All right, go ahead.
No. But I was reading the manga, and I couldn't get the copies in my local library. That's how local library or like my local Barnes or Noble. That's how I get my anime, period, or Amazon. But at that time, I couldn't find Assassination Classroom mangas that were English. So I actually just went on like another website to read it, and I went past I've only seen the season 1, and I went past season 1. And I was hooked. Like, the manga's awesome. They even have... No, that's Overlord. Never mind. Well, that's another one I think you should watch, too.
I've seen Overlord.
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. You had issues with this one.
Together.
You had issues with this one.
I did.
And I'm not happy.
Yeah, she's gonna freaking fight me. So Overlord, I don't get me wrong, I love Overlord, right? And I like the characters are phenomenal. I love the way that they interact with each other and the world building. Just the fact that it's someone who gets like stuck in a video game and is like trying to take over the entire the entire world,
quote unquote world, but it's more that realm per se. I'll explain it when you finish your rant, and I can rant back at you.
I know you're gonna rant back at me because we've talked about this before, but like, my My only problem with Overlord is these characters are really overpowered to the point where they don't really face a lot of obstacles and they don't really face a lot of struggles. Like when they get into certain battles with other people, usually you know that they're going to win and that they're not going to face any massive loss because like Ons is such a powerful being and he has all these other like NPCs that are just as like strong as he is. And he always has something up his sleeve too. Like there's always something that he can use to get out of the situation. And so I would have liked to see them lose more than they did so that the plot would feel more like it would raise the stakes of the plot, if that makes sense.
She sits on a throne of lies. Don't listen to her. She's just speaking nonsense. She doesn't know what to say.
Me wrong. Prove me wrong.
There's multiple. I think there's 4 series now.
There's like I've seen 3 seasons. I think the 4th one's coming out.
It's been a little bit, but I kept rewatching the ones that were out at that time.
Yeah.
Okay, I will admit there is one thing I don't like about that show. I don't like how they're making. What's her name?
Albedo?
Yeah, Albedo. I don't like how. Like, I get that he accidentally programmed her to be like that, but I still don't like how she's like shown as like a woman that she's like all fawning and like trying to jump him and all that stuff.
Yeah, she's very sexualized.
Yeah, but okay, like I said, half of me gets it because she's supposed to be like a succubus type thing, and the other half of me gets it because he was just messing around thinking that the server was going to close and just wanted to be funny. But still, I feel like she should have like a little bit more free will.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. I think a lot of anime in general can come off as like misogynistic because like the women in that show are usually they're very submissive. Like they're all very obedient and they all sort of follow most of them I should say, follow some sort of like gender role. Like for instance, I was watching Hunter x Hunter the other day and they introduced, what was her name? It was I'll figure out what her name is, but she basically was training Gon and Killua, and she had this power to where she wanted this power to where she could like massage people and do all this other stuff, and she wanted to look like this like really curvy like sort of like thin character, like the traditional standards of beauty, but her actual power was like turning into like this huge muscular woman who could crush other people. And she was very insecure about that and hated that about like her Nen abilities. And I was like, and then there's also the other character too, who I also forget her name as well, but she's the one that like wears like the cross necklace and she wears like a turtleneck. Her thing is like her Nen ability is basically like vacuuming, and I'm like, why are all the women like given these abilities are being insecure about like being strong and being like, I don't know, anime just does not let women be unconventionally attractive, and it does not let women like just be badass. All right, editing Madison here. Let's unpack this because I left out a lot of details in my character analysis, and I don't think I really described what I was trying to say very well. So let me preface this by stating Hunter x Hunter is actually pretty good with its female representation, and I don't necessarily mean to call that anime out in particular. It's just the clearest in my head since I've recently watched it. And let me give credit where credit is due. Even though Biscuit was concerned about her Nen abilities and the fact that like she's this bodybuilder type woman, she still played a vital role as Gon and Killua's mentor, and that was really influential to see because we don't have very many female characters that play that sort of role. Plus the fact that anime tends to combine femininity with strength. I love to see that because I don't think we have that enough in American media, at least. That being said, what I meant to say is that some portrayals of women need improvement even when they are strong and badass. I've noticed that a lot of female characters in particular are either over-sexualized, concentrate on stereotypical tropes like their looks or their love interests, or pigeonholed into roles that are typically associated with femininity. And that's what I was trying to say with Albedo and Shaltir. They're both super powerful characters that have the potential to be great, yet they're reduced to these love interests that basically consistently constantly fight each other for the attention from a man. And I've also noticed that a lot of male characters, particularly with the heroes, have more leeway to be conventionally unattractive, whereas a lot of the women need to be beautiful in every single way just to play a role in the show. And that's not necessarily limited to anime, but I wanted to bring that up and make my point clear since I didn't do a good job of that here. And in a lot of ways, I am a bit confused about where I stand with female representation, not just limited to anime. You know, I don't want every female character to be like these big, strong warriors that sort of don, you know, armor and go out and fight. I don't think that's a good representation of who women are, because not everyone is like that. But at the same time, you know, I think there needs to be some sort of variety, and there needs to be the same complexity in female characters that we see with male characters. And we're getting there. We're getting there in anime and American media, but you know, in my opinion, we do need to make a few adjustments and improvements.
So, yeah, I agree that a good amount.
Yeah.
I have seen a couple, though, where the women are the strongest ones in that anime and stuff, like,
well, for
Guri.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think anime in general is just very expressive. And that's kind of the point of anime or cartoons. They're just expressive, so you can fully see their emotions, even if it's unrealistic. But behavior-wise, yeah, I agree that, you know, they kind of, not all the time, but sometimes they push the feminine, like, you know, very, very girly side, like you said, weak side type thing.
Yeah.
But I think for Overlord, they kind of made them strong. And yeah, I agree that they are overpowered, which was the point, because he was supposed to be known as this guild master who played almost every day. Like, you know, like he would do raids, he would do quests, he would do dungeons, you know, he basically, like, that was his life. That game was his life.
Yeah.
And when he got into it, he already had all these things because he played every day. For me, that made sense because I play, you know. But I get, when you play a game so many times, so many hours, so many days, you will get X, Y, and Z. You know, you will get more powerful than everyone else around you. So I understood as we kept watching that he kept winning. That's why I asked how many episodes or, you know, seasons. I said series earlier. Seasons you watched, because as the show goes on, you start to see more powerful players starting to appear. Yeah. Because they're starting to hear about him. They're starting to realize he exists. And of course, they're getting curious. You know, they want to kill him. They want something from him. And, like, that's why the series is slowly progressing.
I get that. I get that he's very powerful and he's known for that. My issue more so is I don't think he's challenged enough. Like, it's fine that he's overpowered, but it's like there are also going to be other people on there that are just as powerful as him. And they even, like, set that up with, I think it was the last season, to where they had, like, that prince or that king or whatever. And he is like, he goes and he tries to defeat Ons, and Ons basically, like, annihilates him because he's able to find, like, this magical card, or I forgot what it was, but they were like those huge, like, the huge, like, black creatures with, like, the long legs and the very ugly, like, sort of faces. Like, he just, even though I don't mind that he's overpowered, I just think he needs to be challenged a bit more. And I see where you're going with your argument, like, maybe I should wait a little bit, but, like, 3 seasons is a lot to watch him, like, annihilate his enemies over and over and over again. Like, I need something to where I'm like, is he gonna win? You know what I mean?
No, I know, but even he admitted that he doesn't care if he's the villain. So, you know how sometimes even villains in any show already appear with X, Y, and Z with power. And maybe you're technically watching the villain continue on his spree, not, you know, really get... no, he did get a couple more items to get powerful, but other than that, he's, you know, he doesn't care. And you're probably going to see a loophole or a flaw or something along the lines appear that kind of makes sense to make him out as the bad guy for certain people or certain areas. Like I said, I don't remember if you watched the whole thing, because I don't want... Did you watch the whole thing?
Yes, I've watched it I've watched everything.
Okay. Do you remember the vampire chick? Now I'm forgetting her name.
Shoutier.
Shoutier.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but
Shoutier. Do you remember when she was under someone else's control?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That was a huge challenge for him. And
Yeah.
that made him realize, hey, you're not the only one that has so much power. Like, someone else had enough power to control one of your other characters and didn't even know they did that. That's why she was left there. And I think she was activated when Ainz interacted with her.
Yeah, I remember that.
But he got really hurt, and he had to use a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, see, that's a good example of where I was interested and where I thought he was challenged enough, but I think there needs to be a bit more of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I do agree. And they don't always show him as much as I wish, but I do like how they show who's the giant blue diamond like dude.
What's his name?
He was the one that led the siege towards the lizard realm or lizard race, which
Cocytus? How do you pronounce it? It's like Cocytus. Cocytus?
It's Cocytus, bitch.
I don't know.
Tostinos. I don't know.
I just remember Demiurg. But go on.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure when I rewatched the anime, I'll remember being like, oh, yeah, I'm stupid. But yeah, I love when they show episodes of his, underlings learning, his underlings actually kind of being semi-human and not NPCs, computer graphic, one-way thinking type characters.
Yeah.
That I love. So my sister loves Sword Art Online. I personally don't like that. But this show, I like how they took the idea that Sword Art Online kind of had, which is you're stuck in a game, but they made it as if it's an actual world. Like, you're not in a virtual world. It seems like you're actually been teleported somewhere else. I don't know how to explain it, but it kind of gave it a different aspect to it, per se.
Yeah, and I like that. Again, like, the world building was fantastic with Overlord, and the character interactions were pretty funny. Like, I love the fact that he always makes me laugh because he has to put on this, like, mask that he's, like, this great badass Overlord, when inside he's just, like, a really nerdy, like, kid who doesn't really know what he's doing. And then you have, I think his dynamic with Demiurg is so fucking funny because, like, Demiurg is, like, smarter than him in some ways, and so he will suggest, like, the most tactically, like, brilliant stuff that Ans could do, and Ans is just like, yeah, that's what I was saying. When nervously he's like, oh my god, like, he's so much smarter than I am, and I love that.
And I like how sometimes even, like, when Ainz is just like he was just flying, above his city, he was, like, just saying out loud, yeah, it'd be nice to have everything, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, I always call him Mr. D. I always find that funny. But he was just next to him going, oh, what a brilliant idea. And just like spouting a whole bunch of things that he's starting to praise Ainz for. And Ainz like, that's not what I was thinking. What are you talking about? But I like also how the series continues. You can kind of see the nerd and the skeleton-like character kind of merging. Like, he's not really feeling sympathy for certain people anymore. He's not really thinking a certain way as much anymore. You know? Like, he's actually becoming that character.
I like that too. Like, the character development is phenomenal. It's just, anime is just good at that in general.
I'm sure people can argue about that with TV series, but for me, I don't know, like, they're more expressive, they're more, compared to TV shows I've seen, and I'm sure there's probably some I haven't that are like this, but animes are a little bit more down to earth, but they're also, like I said, obviously I said more expressive, but they're also easier to make into fantasy or fiction, or like anything, basically anything that you want. And it can be as whacked out as you want, and you can tell by, like, the littlest expression on their face, you know what they're thinking.
That, yeah, and that, like, I just love the fact that, too, like, as you said, they can make it as crazy as possible. I've never in my life seen a more interesting game of rock, paper, scissors than I did on Hunter x Hunter. Anime will take, like, the smallest, simplest, dumbest concept and turn it into, like, a whole entire, like drama, basically. Anime is just excellent, and like I definitely agree about the fantasy stuff too. Like it's just so creative. Like you'll hear the most outlandish concepts or like the most simplest concepts. Like for instance, a boy like finds like a note, and all you have to do is like write their name and know their face, and then it turns into like this whole cat and mouse game and this whole like question of what is justice. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, how did that idea start? Was it literally just, does someone pick up a piece of paper and someone else just plays chess? Or is that, like, you know, is that how it started, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. And I won't lie, well, there's rock, paper, scissors in Kakiguri. That was kind of scary. But awesome. I've never been so intrigued with gambling until I watched that show.
Yeah.
I even was studying, before that, I was studying Texas Hold'em. Now I study it even more. Doesn't mean I'm good, but I studied it more.
Yeah, you had a whole entire gambling phase.
I still do. What are you talking about?
That's true, but not as much. You would like send me, you'd be like, Madison, gamble with me. And I'd be like, what? Like, I'm not.
Well, I don't send it too much anymore because you don't do it with me.
True. I'm just like, what the f?
It's virtual gambling, if not real gambling.
But go on. Why do you like, how do you pronounce it? Kakegurui?
Kakegurui?
We're going to mispronounce it. I'm sorry. That's just going to happen.
We're going to mispronounce names. We're going to mispronounce titles.
Yeah. We're fake weebs.
Ouch. She said it, not me.
All right, continue.
But, yeah, that anime I love. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you gotta watch that. It's like we talked about expressive, but women in that one as well are more dominant. Women are seen a little bit more powerful. Women are seen as not just like, you know, like the sugar baby type, you know, roles and etc. Like they are in control. Some of them shouldn't be, like you can kind of tell, like, oh, you know, kind of like with men, like, oh, you know, they're absorbing too much power, they're getting drunk on that, you know, like. But I also like how this girl just transfers and she's just gambling because she can. She has absolutely no reason to do it. She's absolutely, you know, like no history with anyone else, and she's like, she's like, I just like gambling. And then she starts making it sexual. My brain's like, what the hell?
Yumiko is just, she's crazy as but she's just, you know, like you want to be on her good side, and when you are, you're like, I'm glad I'm on her team because holy God, like she's the wild card in the deck.
And even when she loses, she's still awesome.
Yeah. Well, she'll handle it with just such confidence and such grace, and she'll be like, I'm addicted to it. Like, oh my God. She's insane.
I love her. Though the adaptation on Netflix, the live action, have you seen that?
I refuse to watch live action anime because we didn't talk about this, but with Death Note, like I saw snippets of that clip and I was like, how do you take something so popular and so good and be like, we're going to completely ruin everything about it? Because Light was like sad boy. He wasn't like this, like, I'm not going to get into it. That's too much to handle for this episode, but
personally, for me, any live adaptation of any anime is horrible. I heard the Attack on Titan adaptation is horrible. I saw commercials for the Death Note one, and when people began to tell me what it's about because they watched it, including like Kristen, I was like, no, I can't watch that. Nope.
Yeah.
And then there's an Ouran High School Host Club adaptation. I watched one episode and was like, nope.
It just, I don't know why, but I think anime should just be left into cartoons. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, or at least that animated style. I don't want to call it cartoons, but
I know what you mean, and I do agree with that. There are a couple Japanese shows I do like, but they're not anime based. I do agree. Maybe it's just better left alone with animations and like that type of art style because everyone sees the character. Everyone mentally has this expectation of said thing, and if you don't follow it, it's not going to be good.
yeah, and I think sometimes like when you make the real life transition, it just takes a lot of the fun and expressiveness out of the characters in general. It just, for some reason, it just doesn't translate that well.
Yeah, and it's kind of like our cartoons here, like with Batman or like Superman or like any Marvel type stuff too. The only thing I can think of recently is Batman. I enjoyed the cartoon more than Dark Knight. You can argue with me, like I like that too, but I like cartoon Batman because it's a little darker. It can show certain things that live action probably can't. Not all the time, but
Yeah.
like spoiler for this one. It was actually spoiled for me. That one of the Robins died, and it showed that scene, but in cartoon form, and you could feel the tension because of the surroundings, the dangerous stuff around him that you probably can't have on set. The voice acting, like just hearing how they talk is probably all you need to kind of feel that situation and that tension and stuff. And of course the explosion. But like I said, people can argue with me.
I definitely agree with you on that, though. Not necessarily for superhero content. I feel like superhero content, like DC sucks. We've already talked about that on this podcast.
Time out. I do like the Dark Knight series.
Yeah, of course. I love that too.
And I love the very first Wonder Woman movie. The other one, it's okay. Personally, for me, it's okay. But yeah, continue.
You're definitely right about anime. I think since anime is very outlandish and very like fantastical, it's really hard to, as you said, translate that to live action just because there's a lot of limitations with what you can do with real people that you don't have with like characters. But let's get back on track here. I think my only problem, like, the characters do have a lot of like autonomy, especially the female characters. And I really love how complex they are and that they're not like degraded in a lot of ways that some of the other animes that I've watched do that to women. Like, my only problem is that it still sort of sexualizes them in a lot of ways. Like, you'll get so many skirt shots, or you'll see Yumiko basically getting really turned on by gambling, and I'm not saying like take that out, but it's just like I want a show that doesn't, where female characters aren't looked at in that way or aren't shown in that way. They can be powerful, and I'm glad that they're powerful, don't get me wrong, but just the whole sexualization, it doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I get also why I don't know how to put into words. I don't agree with the sexual, like showing certain shots and etc. But I get that they're trying to show how excited she gets when she gambles, right? Like you actually understand. Oh, that's
She's
how
addicted.
crazy. Yeah, that's how crazy she is.
Yeah,
and any this for me goes with anything, books, movies, etc. Anytime there's a complex character that isn't one-minded, like a just 2D character, I love, just anything like that.
Yeah, and I enjoyed the complexity of the Kakegurui characters as well, because I really liked Kurari's character, and she sort of has the same motivation that Yumiko does, where she does gambling for like the thrill of it and everything. But a lot of the time she seemed a bit more unpredictable. Like with Yumiko, I could be like, okay, well, I didn't know what she was going to do and what her next move would be, but her reactions tended to be what I expected. But when Kurari was on the screen, I was sort of like, what is she planning next? Because a lot of Curari's motivations, you know, she likes the thrill, but she's also very bored. And I think in a lot of ways that boredom pushes her to do some extreme things that where she doesn't necessarily care about other people, she just cares about gambling. And I don't know, she's just fascinating in a very strange sort of way. She's illogical. A lot of the decisions she makes, I'm always questioning, but she's also very scientific and very curious and motivated by a desire to cause chaos within systems. And you know, I really liked her contrast with
Sayaka?
there seems to be a relationship between Kirari and the other chick. Was really refreshing to see because even though it seems like it's a bit of a toxic relationship between them, to where like what's her name? It seems like there's a toxic relationship between the two because in a lot of ways, like Curari has the power and Curari seems like she's disinterested in this other woman, but you know, the other woman will do like anything to be with her. Like they had that whole episode too where Yumiko challenged the girl and the girl had to try to beat Yumiko in order to win like Curari's affection and things like that. And then they had that scene to where she had to like jump out of the tower, but she ended up landing on like some sort of mattress with Curari, and that was cute to me because I was like, oh, they're lovers.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I did like that part too.
Do you have any? I wanted to talk about Yuri on Ice, so
I'm still gonna make fun of you the whole entire time.
Okay, but Yuri on Ice is like, it's so cute. It's just okay. Usually, what the representation for like male pairings within anime is like you have the very like dominant, like clearly the one in control of the situation. Then you have like a very submissive dude who a lot of the times is like, am I gay? And is like panicking about and trying to say like, no, I'm not gay, even though they've like, you know, done all that sort of stuff. And it's a very like aggressive sort of thing to where the guy tends to like take control of the dominant, in this case, will take control of the submissive and be very like violent and rapey with them. And I don't think it's a very healthy representation of the LGBTQ plus community, especially because a lot of those portrayals in general it's just the majority of like MLM, not the pyramid schemes, but like the MLM subgenre. And Yuri on Ice is just really groundbreaking to me because it's showing that this affection between men is okay, and it doesn't have to be this sort of rapey, violent sort of situation, because in a lot of ways that stigma has harmed the LGBTQ plus community to make gay men, their relationships sort of seem that way. It's very much so like Victor loves Yuri and Yuri loves Victor, and it's a pure thing to where they both want the best for each other and they both will be there for each other to the very end. And like, you know, Victor, he doesn't really seem to force himself a lot on Yuri. I mean, in the beginning, like it was kind of a bit sus, I would say, because he comes to the hot springs and he's like naked, and then you have that scene where they're in like the room where they have all the boxes, and Victor sort of like touches Yuri's face and stuff, and he's like, ooh, like trying to be all seductive, and Yuri's like, what the f-? But like, in a lot of ways, like Yuri had to become comfortable with Victor, and they had sort of that conversation at the beach too, where it was like, do you want me to be your boyfriend? And Yuri's like, I just want you to be you. And it's wholesome. It's so wholesome. I love it.
I don't remember any of that.
You need to rewatch Yuri on Ice.
I need to rewatch a lot of things, but I do remember all I remember was a lot of people shipping them. So I thought it was one of those like kind of like the Black Butler thing where you're like, oh, they're not actually a couple, but so many people are shipping them. You know what I mean?
No, they are clearly a couple. Like they have that whole entire kiss scene on the ice to where Yuri is like successful about the ice skating. He has like a successful routine that happens, and so he like skates off to Victor, who's waiting like at the I'm not familiar with ice skating terms, but like they both share like a massive kiss, and it's not like a big deal to where the media blows it out of proportion. It's very much so like, oh, it happened, and it's just a romantic relationship. There's nothing different about their relationship. Are you good?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing different about their relationship from a normal like heterosexual one.
I don't remember that at all.
I love Yuri on Ice. You need to rewatch it.
I guess I do.
I think a lot of the reasons why like it's so groundbreaking too is the fact that they show a lot of their relationship as well, because a lot of media currently is like they'll imply that a character is gay without actually having to show it on screen, or they will do a lot of queer baiting with it, and a lot of the times why companies do that is because they want to seem woke in a way, and they want to maintain their LGBTQ plus audience, but they don't want to lose their homophobic conservative audience.
Mm-hmm.
And so like seeing their kiss happen on screen, I was like, yes, you confirmed that they're gay and that they're in a relationship and that it's healthy. I love to see it, and it's not a big deal. It's wonderful.
You sound like me, but with Death Note.
I love Yuri on Ice. I think Yuri on Ice is my favorite anime of all time.
For now, but...
No! I'm ready for Ice Adolescence.
I probably would need to... Well, I have a long list anyway to rewatch a whole bunch of stuff. You never watched Code Geass?
No, it's on my list, though.
I really think you would like that.
I watched the first episode, and the main character, I'm like, oh my god. He's something.
I love him.
Ironically, like, I found out he's the same personality type that I am, and so I'm like, in a way, I'm just like cringing, I guess.
So, in Code Geass, or at least the main character there, his name is Lelouch V. Britannia. How do I remember that? I don't know. But I even remember his full last name. That's his royal name, or something like that.
Yeah.
And they always compare him to Light, and they debate who's the smartest one.
They're both INTJ, so I feel like that's bound to happen.
Basically. But I really like that kind of like debate. Like, you know, which character's the smartest? Which one would actually have worked with the Death Note? Which one would have actually, you know, conquered the world if they knew the outcome, blah, blah, blah. And I really like the complex characters, and, you know, story-wise, I'm not going to say it fully because you haven't seen it, and I want you to see that part. I think halfway through the season, I mean, I understood why certain people reacted a certain way, but at the same time, he helped them out for so long. I don't understand. I don't know. But Code Geass is like the best. If you like, it's kind of like magic, and what he does, he can look at somebody and give them a command, and they do it. And it's like a one-time
mind control,
basically, and they don't even know that they did it. So if he looks at, I don't know, pretend he looked at
the Queen of England.
Sure, he looked at the Queen of England and said, "Start World War III." She would start World War III.
Is it a vague command like that though, or does he have to be specific? And I'm assuming it has to be in the realistic limits of what they're able to do as a person.
That a little bit can be debated, and I think we can probably talk more in depth about that when you watch it. I'm trying to think. I remember one part where he gave somebody command, and that was the complete opposite of the said character, and the said character did everything they could to fight against that, and they lost. They did exactly what he said.
Yeah, but what I mean is like he probably can't say like run across the world like in 10 seconds. You know what I mean? Like he can't do something that's unrealistic.
Actually, he probably could. because he would give. So think of the Death Note, but it's not obviously on a Death Note. He can look at somebody and say, "I want you to do this, this, and this, and then kill yourself," and they would do all of that and kill themselves.
But the thing about the Death Note, though, is that they couldn't fly from America to Tokyo in 2 seconds because it's not like actually possible.
Yeah. No,
so you're
I
saying
know
that limitation is not there for Code Geass?
I don't remember. I don't think there was, but like I said, I haven't been able to. I wasn't prepared for this podcast. Okay, so I was able to rewatch.
Sorry, no, you're fine. Good.
But I really recommend it. It's a really good show, and you actually fall for, like, you understand where the main villain comes from. You understand where, it's like an anti-hero. You understand where that person's coming from, right? Yeah. And you're kind of cheering them on too, even though maybe the method they're doing isn't the best and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's basically all I know I can spell.
It sounds interesting. I'll have to add it to my recommendations.
We haven't talked about Black Butler.
No, we haven't.
Nor Attack on Titan. Okay.
I'm gonna say this, so just for the viewers' sake, I'm gonna save a few animes for for a later episode. So if we don't get into something, that it's probably both of us haven't seen it, or B, we forgot we forgot, or C, we're saving it for a later date, because I think what I'm gonna do is on another episode to where Sabrina just can't make it. I'm going to invite probably you and my sister, particularly I'm thinking about doing this for Attack on Titan. After it finishes, we'll just do an entire analysis of everything and go over and just sort of review it.
I almost forgot one though. The one I was hunting earlier that I finally found.
Go into it.
It's called Shiki. And how did I bump into this? I don't remember. And I didn't even know the title of it. I think I had autoplay on, and I think it was one of those free anime shows that I can watch and blah blah blah. Me going into it, I didn't know what it was. And just it turning into a horror movie type thing. Oh my god. I loved it, but it actually did a little bit freak me out. And I think what freaked me out was so Madison knows this, I'm not a huge fan of zombies. But oh, okay, time out. Minecraft zombies I'm fine with. And I have actually started trying to watch The Walking Dead. I think what really scares me is the zombies that can
World War Z.
Kind of they can actually kind of think, and they can run super fast, and they don't care who's in their way type thing. I know most zombies don't, but I'm saying it's the
fast ones,
faster and smarter ones that are decaying. And sometimes the decaying is the creepy part. But in this anime, it's half zombie, half vampire, and basically it starts off as you're in this village and stuff, and you learn all about the characters and blah blah blah, and you start kind of getting connections. Well, I think a group moves in, and from what my memory is, when the group moved in, you never know, I don't think, who they are. You never really see them until close to the end. Well, after they moved in, and after a couple days, it's a sickness kind of goes over the town. And you even the doctors don't know what's going on. And I think later maybe the government got involved, but like I said, I haven't seen it in 3 years, so I don't fully remember. But it goes down fast once it starts, and it creepy. Some of the characters in there are super creepy.
Yeah, and they just to explain, Kaylee is the gore person. We went to see Deadpool 2 together, just to give you an idea. Oh, yeah. And the part where he falls off of the balcony and his arms his body the arms bend the opposite way or the wrong way. She burst out laughing at that scene. She was so confused. Like, she loves gore, so hearing her say like that horrified her. I'm like, oh god, I'm scared.
Like, okay, time out. I'll give you a better example. When I was watching Game of Thrones with my dad and I would watch Game of Thrones. We love that type of stuff. We would watch Lord of the Rings together, blah blah blah. When we watched Game of Thrones, I laughed at the Red Wedding.
Oh my god!
Because I thought it was hilarious to me.
That is messed up.
Okay, one, I saw it kind of coming, and two, I don't know. I just thought it was funny. I don't know how to explain why it's funny without actually like sitting down watching it with you, so I can pause it and explain why I think it's funny. But right now, I'm just like, yeah, it's funny. But that, like I said, it creeped me out so much. I remember it 3 years later, and I didn't even know what the show was called. That's kind of how creepy it was. Watch me rewatch it and not think it was that creepy. But at that moment, like I said, me going into it, not even knowing what it was, that was creepy.
I'll trust your opinion, and I'll add it to my anime list to watch.
Any horror fans, I definitely recommend that one. But like I said, I haven't seen it in 3 years, so don't be disappointed.
It's going to be good, though. I'm telling you.
I need
it's going to be good.
Watch that. I think I got close to the end of I think there's only one season. At that time, there was only one season. I got close to the end of that, but I never finished it. I think that's also why I remembered it, because I never was able to figure out the ending.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't find it, but now I did. And I'll probably forget it dinner time.
Moving on, I think I'm going to cut down our list a little, if that's okay.
No, we can just probably post the rest of it later.
Yeah, because we're running out of a little bit of time. I did want to mention Beastars, though, before we wrap this up.
That's very mature.
Yeah, Beastars. When you told me to watch Beastars, right? I went and I scrolled to the, what is it called? The thing that shows you the thumbnail, technically. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? I forgot the word for it, but I scrolled over to that and saw that, and I was like, is this furries? Like, is this a furry anime? I was so concerned and embarrassed, but I was like, Kaylee recommended it to me, so I have to watch it. And it's good. Like, you have to get over the furry part of it, because
it wasn't.
I was like, this is kind of weird.
No. So when I saw it, I was like, I don't know if I want to watch that. But when I clicked on it, like you said, I thought of Zootopia, but like really dark.
Oh yeah, that's the best way to describe it, I think. But if you haven't seen it, it's really good, and I'm gonna get into the problems with it. But if you haven't seen it, it's basically a society to where like predators are seen as these very dangerous creatures, and they're trying to like live in harmony with prey. And it follows this wolf by the name of Legoshi. Yeah, so he's in high school, and he's sort of in like the drama club, and there's this whole thing to where one of his friends got killed by a predator, or so we assume that they got killed by a predator. They haven't really revealed that to us yet, but so he's trying to deal with the fact that he's like this dangerous sort of character, and that, you know, everyone thinks that he's gonna snap, or that they just have something against like predators, right? And so he sort of falls in love in a way with is it Haru? It's Haru. Yeah, it's Haru. And she's like this like very small rabbit that's kind of like, in a way, I don't want to say like the school slut, because I don't want to slut shame, but like she sleeps around a lot.
I think she even called herself that. I don't remember, but I think she did call herself that. Like, yeah, kind of towards the middle of the series, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, she was. They basically made it realistic, which was, rabbits kind of have like a lot of little rabbits, so they're trying to say like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know what you're trying to say. Like, they're a lot of the rabbits in that world are like very small and are seen as docile. So I think in a lot of ways, like, Haru is trying to compensate for that. Like, she's trying to be like, I don't need you to save me. And she wants to be like her own strong sort of independent person that other people don't see as like this very something that needs to be taken care of. And so they are throughout like Beastars, both Haru and Legoshi are trying to, I guess, like get over the predator-prey dynamic. And then in the background, you have, is it Louis or is it Rui? Because I can never tell the way that they pronounce it.
I know who you're talking about. Like I said, I didn't prepare for this. So I don't.
You're fine. This is a last-minute episode just to give you guys some clarity.
Yeah,
but it's Louis. Okay.
It's the deer.
Yeah, I loved him because he's like this. He's kind of like the jock of the school. He's like the popular prep kid of the school that has a lot of like potential and works really hard. I loved his character, and where they took him, I hated it. I hated it so much because I'm like, he had so much potential to be so good, and then they turned him into like this sort of assassin-like character out of nowhere. I was like, where? How does this? What?
NANI?
He kind of became a douche too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Well, he was kind of an asshole at the beginning.
But
because he's like
more so even to his. Were they still boyfriend girlfriend at that time or no?
I think they had a thing. I don't think they were ever officially dating, but
okay. I couldn't remember if they were or not.
Yeah, they were just buddies. I think.
Yeah.
We're talking about Haru and Louis. But I was so mad where they took his character because they could have done it to where, I don't know. I feel like I need to wait.
Didn't you also ship him with
Legoshi? Yes, because the sexual tension in Beastars between those two, I literally was sitting there like, is this gay? I was like, are they gay? Like, are they gonna do that? Because like they have the scene where Louis is in his office, right? And he like grabs Legoshi by the throat and like pins him against the wall. And I was like, I think they're gay. And then and I ship it because I'm like, wow, they have so much intense chemistry. But no, she's laughing at me, but I was so confused because I was like, are they really going to be a thing? That would have been cool.
I'm laughing because I think I thought the same thing too.
Yeah, and like they have that scene too where Legoshi is like watching Louis perform or he's watching him practice from like the lights. And I was like, I think this man has a crush on Louis. And I was like trying to figure out what's going on there. And then they settled for like the whole like straight dynamic. And I don't mind like the dynamic between Haru and Legoshi, but I was kind of like, they don't have as much chemistry as Louis and Legoshi.
She was disappointed. She's not mad.
A little, yeah, a little bit.
I thought when they showed Haru with the deer, I was like, "Is this gonna be a threesome? What the hell is going on?"
I thought that too. I was like, "Is this gonna be polygamous? Because they're animals."
Yeah, like my brain can't. Like I said earlier, this utopia is really messing with my brain. So. But I'm giving you a warning. This is MA. When I clicked on it, I didn't know that, and ooh boy.
Oh yeah, the adult themes in that I was really surprised by, and I remember asking you like, can I watch this around other people? Because what happens with that? Okay, I need to mention this.
No, but I don't remember.
Yeah, you told me no, and you said that about Food Wars too, which we'll get into. But like, I have a game with my brother called Anime Out of Context, and an example of this would be I was watching Tokyo Ghoul, right? And Tokyo Ghoul, if you don't know what that is he's basically an accident happens and he's slowly like turning into like this half human, half ghoul like creature. And so a lot of what ghouls do is they go out and they eat like humans and stuff, and they need that to survive. And so Kaneki, who's the main character, was starting to turn into a ghoul, and he was like, I want to eat flesh, and having like a whole mental breakdown. And my brother walks in at that time and he's like, what the are you watching? Oh. And I was like, Tokyo Ghoul? I was like, it's anime. And he's done that so many times. He came in when Light was having his whole like mental breakdown with the Death Note. And
he thinks you watch I was those like weird shows and
yeah, he thinks he that's his introduction to anime, but my sister Mackenzie got him into Attack on Titan. So I think that's changing. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, I had to ask you, like, is this okay to watch around other people? Because, like, the adult themes were pretty insane.
No. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not safe for work show.
It's not.
You were saying Tokyo Ghoul kind of reminded me of this show, which is probably weird, but reminded me of, you haven't seen it yet. And I don't know if it's considered an anime or, I think this is considered an anime. But it's like a different type of style. It's like a style I haven't seen before. And I loved it. I loved it. It's definitely not a safe for work show, but I loved it. It's called The Devil May Cry, or like Devil Man Cry. I don't know if it's Devil Man Cry or Devil May Cry. But that show is so good. There were so many twists that even I didn't see coming. Like there was one twist that actually had me bawling at the end of it, and I don't usually cry. I'll tell you this. I don't usually cry, but that show made me cry, especially towards the end. My God! But the graphics are phenomenal.
I'm sorry, at this point the Wi-Fi issues kind of cut out and I don't think I could salvage that part of the audio. But what Kaylee was saying here is that she really enjoyed the progression of the story as well as the build-up of the characters. And she stated the only thing that she would change is more content from them.
That's how much I loved it.
Wow, I've got to add that to my list.
Oh yeah. I won't lie, there probably are a couple things I probably could have nitpicked at too. But it's been, I probably watched it, I think last semester, like halfway through. So like probably in October. I rewatched it in October. So I don't remember fully, but I remember the twists. Like I can remember those specific scenes vividly. But obviously it has devils within it. You know, devils basically come to Earth, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of goes from there. I don't want to talk about too much because of the twists. So I can't say anything. All I can say is watch it.
It's on my list.
It better be. I might even watch it with you. I probably would watch that again. That's how good that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't stop talking about it for like a week. I remember suggesting it to my dad. My dad and I are huge anime and mangas fans. Like, flat out.
Yeah, my mom does not know anything about anime to the point where what were we watching? We were watching some show and it got a little bit like sexual, and it was some anime. I can't remember what it was, and she was like, "Isn't this for children?" And I was like, "Mom," she was like, "These are cartoons," and I was like, I literally sat there like, "Mom, no." I told her this is anime. It's mostly for. It can be for kids, but it's mostly for adults. And she looked like she didn't believe me.
Oh, there's a lot of anime there that aren't for kids.
Yeah, looking at you, hentai.
Yeah, that too. There's also another. I'll probably give it to you to give as like the list that I'll send you later. But there was another show that I can't remember the name of, but I loved it when I watched it, and. Yeah, there were a few pics in there. But like kind of made me understand a little bit more of the Japanese culture, where they're not as censor wise with certain parts of the body. Like they're not as sensitive to those type of topics per se. And they literally had high school students build a parade float and modeled after one of the students' penises.
You told me about that. Yeah.
I can't remember the show right now for the life of me, but I loved that show. In the beginning, they had like some sort of, I don't know if it was capture the flag or tag or something like that. And it was like a full-on war between two, like, I don't know if it was two schools or like different grades, but it was awesome. I loved it. It was like a completely strategic thing to where even the news was covering it. But that show was awesome. But yeah, they even had during the festival where they had mushrooms on a stick and heart type lollipops on a stick, and usually the guys would eat the heart ones and the girls would eat the mushroom ones. So of course, anime, they would sexualize that too. So. the most funniest thing was one of the girls, without thinking, she, they sexualize her kind of eating the mushroom lollipop, and then she bites the tip off in a harsh way. And all the guys around quickly cringe.
Oh. Ooh.
And like I said, I don't think she was even aware of that too. I can't remember if she was or not. If she was, that's even better. But I just remember that part too. But there's so many good animes out there that I'm probably not even mentioning some other ones.
There's a lot that we could talk about. So, Kaylee, this is not the last of her, but I assume it's not the last of you.
Run.
But we're probably going to cut this episode. I don't know if this is a bit brief, but we hope you enjoyed this episode.
If not, then I say
you
rant on the comments, please, and say that Kaylee sent you, okay? And make sure you give her a big insult, all right?
You heard it here, folks.
And also at the end, I want you to state which anime you like, and then insult her again.
Yeah. Oh, insult me? I thought you meant insult yourself.
No, you.
Wow. All right. So, yeah, we're gonna cut this episode short. This isn't the last you're gonna hear about anime. We'll probably have more and more episodes about that. But yeah, follow us, not us as in me and Kaylee, but me and Sabrina.
How long have we been playing for? I'm kidding.
On Fangirl Files.
Shut up. If you don't do it, you're not a true weeaboo.
Yes. 100%. Follow me at Wolf Silhouettes. Follow Sabrina at Sabrina Canoon. Keynoun, she always pronounces it. If she watches this episode, that's a treat for her. And Kaylee, do you want to do your socials too, or do you still want to be
I don't go on social
hermit
media that much. I have a Facebook I never use. I have an Insta only to stalk her with. So, hey, I told you yesterday that I like. Were you expecting something different?
No, I post a lot of safe stuff on my story. Like, I feel like I post a lot of stupid shit, but this is gonna get cut out. Never mind. What are we doing? Get the out of here. Get the out of this podcast. No, that's our outro. That's our outro.
So mean.
You don't watch it. No, not you. I swear to God, I'm talking to the viewers.
No, you're talking to me.
No, sorry.
Yeah. You're.
Oh my God, I forgot to tell you that's the outro. Get out of here.